That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit. Well, hello, everyone. Look at Becca Tapman in her old account. Oh, man. I might start hitting on you. Look at this picture. Oh, man. That's the picture I kind of almost fell for. What are you talking about? Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Even Ricky, her husband, knows. But hey, guys, how are you doing tonight? It's good to see you. The few of you that are here on a motherfucking Monday, welcome to the first off-topic Monday on a Tuesday in Australia and a Monday right here in Louisiana. I would like to, first of all, give a shout out to Gomez, Salvatore Gomez, Gomez Pythons. Look, wait, let me back up so you can see the full logo that I'm not supposed to be wearing on a green screen. There he is, Gomez Pythons. And I'm going to pull up the other screen real quick. And I'm going to say, go, man, go. All that training that he worked so hard for. He ran the New York Marathon and he finished. And dude, everything's so amazing. The story about them, their family story, the kidney story and everything. Go check out Gomez Pythons and give my boy Sal a ton of fucking love for being amazing, because first of all, I love the shirts. Thanks a lot again, my daughter, and I love the shirts, Sal. And dude, congratulations on everything and you running the race that I know you were training so hard to do. All right, let me go through the sponsors real quick while we stack up some people in the room. Reptiles to You, discounted shipping. Go to reptiles, the number 2 and you.com. and fill out an app. Be a authorized shipper through Reptiles to You. And when you go to checkout, hit Ball BALL 0922 at checkout. Just go do it with a few shipments. Even if you're happy with your shipper, go try it. Nobody will tell on you. Debbie won't tell on you. Debbie will keep that shit super secret because she's friends with all of them. Like she's friends with Robin and Chad and she's not so much friends with Michael because that's her ex-boss. But I mean, that's deserved, right? I mean, you'll hear that actually. Apparently, Debbie Price finally did a podcast interview with Gumbo podcast. And you can listen to that. You can also hope to hear her on Ballsh soon since she's a sponsor, because we're going to start the sponsor spotlights here really soon because these guys stuck with me so far. We're probably going to start with Shane, Small Town Exotics, coming up on the 25th, on Friday the 25th. Come listen to me and Shane shoot the shit about sponsoring me and all these other things he's sponsoring and all this other stuff he's doing, everything he's working on. Join me on that night for that sponsor, who I'm going to get to in a minute. So anyway, back to Reptiles to You. Ball, BALL 0922 at checkout gets you 20% off the already lowered price that you get there. So MORPH Market, check them out. I plug them twice a week, every week. I love the service, and it just seemed to have moved a very awesome animal for us. So we'll talk about that in just a second. C-SERPENTS, reptile rack systems, incubators, and accessories. Hit up my boy Chris. He's definitely shrinking the lead time from, it was like 6 to 8 weeks. Now it's 4 to 6 weeks. I guess he's updating the site. I think it's been changing. Maybe it hasn't. Maybe I'm just thinking differently. But anyway, check out Chris for everything. Everybody seems to love his product. Exotics by Nature, that's me. I never used to plug me on the old podcast, but I plug me now. Check it out. 176 corn snakes, but one less today. I took Hydra off of the for sale list, so it looks like she sold. So that was pretty incredible. We'll talk about that more when we're not jinxing it. usarc.org. Love it. Gotta be there. Even if you're not from America, we would appreciate your support. Everybody support counts. usarc.org. Join up. Bravo Zulu. Thank you very much for your ongoing sponsorship, feedback, service in the Navy, all that great shit. Eileen, thank you so much. Jim LaValle, Ectothermic Dungeon. Thanks again for being a new sponsor to the podcast. Nathan from Infinite Possible Pythons, thank you as well. John Woodruff from MADRIVER. Look at this, remembering Steve-O. Look, a fellow Australian that like inspired so many. November 15th, National Steve Irwin Day. So that would be tomorrow. So I guess we're remembering him today in Australia, with Colin. So that's kind of interesting. Reptile Collective. Here we go. There's Skittles. Skittles. Missing Skittles, he says, with a frowny face. But guess what? Skittles is soon to be joined by Hydra, because apparently the collector that bought Skittles is also the one purchasing Hydra. So that's a very interesting spin in life, is we have in common, me and Reptile Collective both have kind of set some morph market records, me and Steve-O Beamer. So good job, Steve. Pats on the back to us, as long as I get my animal delivered safely. Savage Constrictors, love you to death. Here's her new rat food she's working on. So she's displaying, this was what, Daytona on this video? It looks Daytona-ish. Yep, nope, Tampa Repticon. I read after looking. There's the banner. The banner looks great. The banner looks amazing. Good job, guys. Thanks a lot. Here's the banner I'm talking about, this little $30 banner. If you're not doing it for the Ballshit podcast, you might want to do it for your own podcast or your own sponsee, benefactor, benefactee, whatever. Shane Kelly, good to see you, dude. Your sign went out. UPS, get your tracking number today. Strange, the last sponsor on my list of sponsors to talk about. Love you, Strange. Keep on repping, dude. And here's Colin. We're going to get to Colin here in his setup, in his fabulous shirt. What's up, bro? How's it going?
G'day, mate.
Good day. All right, I'm going to go through this list of people that are waiting, because we actually have 12 people in here, which is shocking that I switched up the schedule, and it's like, what the fuck ever, right? What in the what? Quirky Snakes, I believe, down under as well. Eric's MORPH Factory. Hey, nice to see you. Mike Narita. Yes, it is Tuesday at 11 a.m. in Australia. Well, 11:07. Yeah, 11:07. Yeah, 11:07. He said, I believe so. I said, Mike, it certainly is. Genomic Labs. Hello, Becca. Your old account that I said, there's the picture of the old Becca that I miss and love so much. Bosa out there repping at. Smash that like, smash the subscribe. Please subscribe. Get me over 1,000 so somebody gives me a super chat and says, Sean, this isn't for you. This is for USR. Because that'll be allowed on my super chats. Like, it'll be like non-greed super chat must be related to USR through Sean or something, just to make me look better. I don't know. To rank up my shit. Small Town Exotic, he says first. If you're not first, you're last, right? That's what Ricky Bobby said. We won't call you last. Bearded Bayou, you say elbow cough. That I don't get. Forward Motion, what's up? Always moving forward. Stan, C-SERPENTS, morphs, sorry. So many names. Nicole, Lady Tis, good to see you. Always great to see the fellow podcasting public in here. Will's hella heat, damn good thing I looked at my phone. I'm glad you got those alerts lit up, Will. So those of you that don't have those alerts lit up, by all means, please light those motherfuckers up. And PCF Funny Royals, you're going to be my last shout out in the door before we talk to this good old brother from down under. So, Colin, we had a really cool little chat here before the show, and it's good. It was good, guys. So, like, you want to talk about the skinny on like down under shipping and message like that. You might have to listen to the audio only version. But so tell me this, bro. You have been in this hobby. You've been in the American side of this hobby for a long time, a lot longer than I understood. So aside from looking like a sexy Twitch gamer, right, everybody, does this guy look like a Twitch gamer with his fucking lights and his I mean, he's got it going on. The shirt with his picture on it, even though he had a beard in the picture, but he shaved it off. When did you start this crusade into Australian herps? Growing up as a kid?
Yeah, so so my earliest memory, when I was about 6, my dog was bitten by a snake, and it ended up being an eastern brown snake. And
That's
then
a
I just
fairly
remember
hot snake, yeah.
Yeah, so I remember sitting on the back fence watching my dad with a backhoe clear all the underscrub, so there's no bush there anymore, because that's where it came from after the dog had passed away. And I was like, what do you mean? And then a couple of years later, my father employed a young fellow called Peter Birch as an apprentice plumber. And that's when I got a blue tongue. And then Peter was doing a lot of like what I do now, like reptile call outs and removing reptiles and helping reptiles from people's backyards. And just over the years, got more and more stuff. And then when I was 19 or 18, I got my first legal diamond python. So I bought it from a breeder. So up until that point, you catch something out of the bush, keep it for a few weeks, and then you let it go again and all that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
So then in 2012,
now wait a minute, help me backtrack a little bit. That catch and release process, was that because of what? Caging issues, feeding issues, just overall, just being an ecologist?
Yeah, just being a kid, catching things. I'm talking from when I was like 8 years old to 12 years old. You know what I mean? And then after that,
okay.
I always did have a blue tongue when I was 8 years old, right up until 2020 or 2018. He passed away. So that's one tattooed on my arm. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah. So yeah, always had a reptile kicking around.
What was the duration of that animal?
25 years. 25 years.
25 years. 25 years. All right.
So
I'm loving the fact that my oldest animals in my collection is a pair of Antaresia children that I've had, that I bought from someone that is near to me and dear in 1997. I bought them in 97. And she still lays eggs, but they're not good eggs. She hasn't laid good eggs in like 2 years. She lays slugs.
Yeah.
But he still breeds. He's still fine. And so here we are all these years later. I think it's ironic that my oldest animals are a pair of ruddy ass fucking pythons from Australia. That most people would more or less think of as had waned in the hobby, right? Like children's went from fucking like to $35 where no one gave a shit.
Right. Yep.
And then up to now more glory where people are like actually respect them. So what's it like to grow up in Australia around so much deadly shit? I mean, that's something Americans know nothing about, even if you live in the worst areas of America.
Yeah, it's just it's not like it's just where we live. So it's always just being smart about being in the bush, wearing long pants, making a lot of noise when you're moving through the bush. And so like with the snake catching now, I do inspections for people's yards. And why do I have snakes? And 9 times out of 10, they have just overgrown backyard, building materials in their backyard. They have chooks, something like that, to attract snakes or to attract vermin, which attracts snakes. So it's just part of living in Australia. So
okay. Well, I mean, that Will's Hella Heat said they say everything in Australia wants to kill you, bro. I think that's Africa you're thinking of. I'm not so sure that's Australia. That's what I mean. Half of Australia, you're probably not recognized by a whole lot of animals, but that's the remote parts of Australia.
Dude, I've camped in South Africa, and that's actually like you can hear stuff at night that will eat you. Whereas here in Australia, like people go, I would never camp. It's like, why? Like there's nothing that can grab you out of your tent and eat you alive.
What was that? Chris Rock was that Chris Rock's account of going to Africa and hearing all the noises at night
Yeah.
and being like, doop, 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 whoop,
Yeah.
whoop. And he said, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah.
Bring me back. I'm done.
And then,
Oh, that shit was hilarious. But yeah, that shit would freak you out. I mean, just hyena sounds alone are enough, right? But you know, you always hear about dingoes, of course. The old dingo took my baby thing. You know?
I think the biggest thing when people come to another country, so like if an American comes to Australia, is the bugs. Like,
oh yeah, because we taste different, bro. The bugs get the fuck on you when you smell like different food. Oh yeah,
dude, every fucking time we either go to Florida to herp to take Australians there, or
I bet,
or we bring American. We go take them to Walmart. We'll take them to Walmart. Get them a head torch.
Easy off. Yeah.
And then they're like, why don't you have a head torch? Like, I don't need one, you know, and then they turn the head torch on and just get covered in flies. You know?
Oh man. I had a customer who went to the Philippines and he married a Filipino woman, and he said that for the first 30 days you were in the Philippines after you were in America, the mosquitoes fucking ate your ass. Like you had to bathe yourself in off. When you got out of the shower, he said you would dry off with a towel and then apply Avon Skin So Soft, right? He would bring cases and cases and ship cases and cases of Skin So Soft to the Philippines because, I mean, he was in some merchant marine thing, so he would probably smuggle some of that shit in. And he was bringing that shit in because the mosquitoes were so bad. And he said, but when you get off the plane for like 30 days, they would eat your ass until you completely got all that food out of your system and you got like accustomed to the local diet and everything and smelled like the locals. Right.
Yeah.
And then he said they would leave you alone. You know what he said after that, though? I still never got over all the tokay geckos shitting on the kitchen table. That's what he said. I never got all of tokay geckos shitting on the kitchen table because apparently her family's house had tokays living inside for bug control, for roach control and such, you know? So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like it was cool to hear tales from the other side like that. And yeah, I would say everything Australia wants to kill you. Fucking Africa, dude. Fucking Africa. Yeah, Australia's pretty deadly, but Africa's angry.
We had one kid come from the US to go like herping with us over in Australia, and we're up in Brisbane, up in the hinterland somewhere. I can't remember what it was. Mount Victoria. I can't remember the name. Anyway, we're up there, and he got bitten by a red flying ant, and he's like, "Shit, what was that?" And we're like, "Dude, fuck, like that's a red whizzer." And he's like, "What's that fucking mean?" Dude, if we don't piss on your neck right now, you're gonna die.
Remind me never to come to Australia and fucking. This is why it's like you come to Louisiana, you get teabagged on a fishing trip. They figure give you too much alcohol on a fishing trip, you get teabagged on a fishing trip. You go to fucking Australia, neck pissed on after a fucking red whizzer.
Red whizzer, fucking got him, and like he was like ready. He's like, okay, piss on my neck.
Oh, you're fucking
and I would like do a joke. I love going to America. Like I used to go to the Tinley Park Expos and all that sort of stuff. And people go, "What do you do for a job?" And I go, "Man, I'm a rooshu, you know." Yeah, I'm a rooshu, and they, "What do you mean?" I go, "Like, before peak hour traffic on the Harbour Bridge, we get out there and get all the kangaroos off so they don't get hit by cars." And they're like, "Fuck, no way!" And like, so there's still Americans today in the Midwest of America that think there's fucking rooshus. Say like, get out.
That could be so many different things, though, bro. That could be so many different things. Like you're a gasser, dude. You could fucking kill me. Me and you going into a bar at a reptile show with me in a wheelchair. We could come up with some shit. Me and Brian Potter once came up with the fact that I got bit in the back by a cobra, and to tell a whole bunch of guys from a motorcycle convention. We were at NARBC Arlington, and the KTM motorcycle crew was there, and we had them completely convinced that I was in a wheelchair because I got bit in the back by my 14-foot female king cobra that was my pet, and she was so tame until the day she bit me in the spine, and that was it. Potter. And that was fucking it, dude. They were totally fucking convinced because Brian went along with it. You know Potter, dude. Potter's like, fuck. He had a drink in his hand and he was just with it, right? And he was just like, rocking right. And he went back over to the table. All of them were sitting there. Bob Ashley and his wife were sitting there.
Yeah.
Sherry was sitting there, everybody else. And then the whole table just starts laughing. And the KTM guy looks at me and he's like, I feel like a joke is on me. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I fucking fell. I fucking fell off my deck, dude. I broke my back tragically, years ago, but we were just having fun with it. But wait, he came to the show the next day and he brought all the racers with him from KTM team, and he introduces me as the guy that got bitten back by a cobra. So he went along with the whole fucking thing. So yeah, there's another story I've probably told before, but you heard it for the first time. So fuck them if they don't want to hear it again. But yeah, dude, having fun at these type of things, being who we are and what we do is that's what makes us, bro. Like,
yeah,
to do it with an accent here in America, it must be so much fun. So how many times have you been here to the US?
I've been, I think, about 4 times. So normally we'd fly to LA, have a stopover in LA for like
we were talking about that pre-show about the customs fucking rigmarole, them coming over to LA. So
once you get out of LAX, we go go down to Prehistoric Pets, and then Jay would like fly us back to the airport. That's the scariest like car trip I've ever been in my fucking life. Like his daughter was driving and talking to us, and then like there's traffic, and you're like, you're gonna stop, and she's like, oh yeah, and then just swings across like 6 lanes of traffic. Anyway.
Oh yeah, but, LA driver, bro.
Yeah, fuck man.
LA driver.
And then we'd go to Tinley Park, and then Brian would take us back to Detroit. We'd spend a couple of days with Brian, then we'd fly to Florida, go see Kenan, Tommy, and then go herp the Everglades. Might go see Ty, and then so we do that trip. I've done that trip about 3 times, and then one time we did a like a weekend to fucking Tinley Park. Just flew from Australia to Tinley Park and then back.
That's what you were telling me about. Yeah,
and that's
where you travel backwards in time, right? Like you're fucking like, how do you do that exactly? You fly
Saturday, and then you arrive at LAX 6 a.m. Saturday, the same day.
Right, right. And you fly backwards.
And then when you're going back, you lose 2-3 days.
Right. Not to mention all the drinks that are put in your face while you're there.
Yeah. Oh, Cody from what's his company called? He's down in Florida. He tried to drink me under the table at Tinley Park, and I had him parked in at
usually not good.
Not good. I can't remember what we were drinking. I can't remember now. Long Island iced teas. Long Island iced teas. I didn't even know what it was. I just drink beer in Australia.
You just drank.
Like, some long. Oh, okay, and then making them, and like, by the end, I'm like, "You're right, mate." And he's just.
Generally speaking, in my experience at reptile shows, those with an accent, unlike American accents, usually win this fucking game. I mean, even though Limey lives here, I've seen Limey win this game. Jim from Ireland. Jim definitely fucking won this game, bro. Jim was doing this with tits and
Irishman.
Huh?
I would not go up against an Irishman at all. No way.
No, not an Irishman. No, that Jim the Irishman was out of fucking control, dude. It was 4 a.m. and he was juggling this nasty girl's boobs in the lobby of the Hilton. I don't know how, but he was doing it. He was sitting there on the couch just doing this with them out of the swimsuit. They were completely, and I'm like, well, it's like 4 a.m. I don't know why. I think I was looking for Tim Bailey. I think Tim Bailey was fucking passed out up by the bar with Pete Call back in the day. But yeah, dude, it's crazy things that we went through at these shows and stuff. What about Australian shindigs? You guys get together for this kind of shit down there?
They used to have more, but after COVID, there's been less. They used to have a Central Coast one, which is like 20 minutes from me. They have a Reptile Expo, we call them here. But the VHS,
we'd like to call them Reptile Expos here too, but people like the word show for some reason. I think it sounds like shit. Honestly, I think it sounds like flea market almost. I think I'd rather use the word expo. I think when you're commanding respect from your government, I think expo is the term to use. But some people like to put reptile show, and even though I love herps and the herps family, and I almost like the marketing, but not really. But I mean, I love them. I love doing their shows. But
Yeah.
the herpes that looks like herpes thing only works here in New Orleans when they're repping the local shows on Bourbon Street. When they're walking around Bourbon Street with a shirt that says herpes, people are listening, right? Like when they're handing out brochures and shit, people are like, it's not herpes, it's the next best thing, right? And they're getting attention, right? But I don't think they can do that anywhere else and really get a lot of success marketing themselves. But yeah, I think expo is the right term when you're trying to command. But you said you've had more of them, but since the pandemic,
but there's a regulars like Hawkesbury Herp Society. They do one every year. Victorian Herp Society, they do one every year, and then they do a conference as well. So they do two things in Victoria. So I think Luke went to both this year. Yeah, so there's not much. There used to be one in Queensland, but there's not one in Queensland anymore. The regulations are quite hard to have those sort of things in Australia. So,
okay. So, I mean, for those people out there that don't know, Australia is a hodgepodge of fuckery when it comes to the animals you can and can't keep. And this is what me and this gentleman were discussing pre-show, is that reptiles are limited to what reptiles are indigenous to the country of Australia, correct?
That's correct, yeah. And even some states. So I can have a parenti here, and I did. I used to have parentis.
Fuck, I'm jealous of that. Just that alone. But you know.
But I don't think Luke in Victoria can have parentis. That's the ununited states of Australia with the reptile laws, you know. So even on the east coast of Australia, we breed a lot of rough-scaled pythons. But in
Morelia carinata.
Yeah, so there's hardly any in Western Australia where they actually are indigenous to. So
I was going to say they're very rare in the wild still, aren't they?
Yeah, but there was a period there. If you wanted one in Western Australia, you had to get a permit to go catch one and then breed it. You couldn't. We have them over in the East Coast for $150 each. We could send
they're Western variety, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. They were originally from there. So there's your ass fuckery right there.
Yeah, I can't send you a snake that I breed on the East Coast of Australia to the West Coast.
And even though it's originally from that area, and you would be relieving native wild populations buying captive bred.
This is the government that.
Right. I understand what you're saying. I'm just explaining it for the stupid people who listen to this podcast, because some of them are dumb enough to be like, no, wait, they're not really saying that, are they? And I'm like, yeah, they're really saying that. You're really fucking nuts.
This is a government that brought a cane toad to Australia to let go to eat a cane beetle that lives
lives 6 feet in the air, and a fat fucking toad lives on the ground. He eats all your reed frogs.
That's right. And then that just took over Australia. So now at the moment, the cane toad is on the march. I think there was a documentary done on it not long ago. How the actual ones on the front of the march have no toes because they're running so fast on roads. They're using roads to get through the Kimberley and stuff. So crazy.
Oh man, what happens when the cane toads in Australia make wheelchairs and start pushing themselves faster? And what happens then? It's a fucking invasion. You're all worried about the eastern brown snakes and the fucking funnel web spiders, and meanwhile the cane toads are coming for you with an extraterrestrial intelligence.
Yeah.
And get them wet.
A carpet python.
Right.
Snake neck turtle.
Yeah, but wait a minute, dude. I mean, we're not so smart either. We had cane toads in our countries as well, right? We had them in Hawaii, or we have them in Hawaii, I'm sure. Yep. We have them in Guam, I'm sure. If not, then I'm surprised they wouldn't be there. It's one of those things where I think unilaterally people in general in that time period were just really fucking stupid, where transportation and ability outweighed intelligence and accountability. So I mean, it's not really us, right? Like, I guess we could all shrug our shoulders in America for the Burmese and in the Everglades. We can all be like, it wasn't really me, I didn't really do that, but at the same time, we got to be part of the solution, not a part of the problem. So if I was the Australian herper, I'd probably be smuggling Eastern bred carinata to the Western world and just letting them go like a fucking asshole. And just hoping that some of them kept, I'm sorry to say that we did that. Like, I had a pair of Louisiana milk snakes, very interesting little small milk snake. And they're very, very difficult. They're like more difficult than anthill pythons to get to eat. You know, they're
Okay.
very tiny,
That's bad.
tiny. They're itty bitty
That's really
bitty. Yeah, they're very tough. Like, and I breed anthills and I bred Louisiana milks and Triangulum amara is a tough motherfucker. I mean, the Easterns and stuff are even tougher, but it's one of the toughest. Like Scarlet King snake, the Scarlet King, which is the redheaded one, that also is native to where I am right here. That is probably the hardest feeding snake. I've done gray bands, Transpecos, wild caught Transpecos and gray bands, wild caught adults, and never ever had problems with the West Texas animal like I've had with Scarlet King snakes from here. But I'll tell you, the Louisiana milks, I sold a trio of adults to my buddy that lives a mile away from me over here. And all him and his kid did was for 10 years was breed them and let every one of the babies go. They let every fucking thing go. They let them go, let them go, let them go, let them go. And then eventually they actually caught some Louisiana. They live along the river. So they live along a good native habitat. So they actually caught some Louisiana milk snakes a few years later that had some size to them. And I'm like, whoa, I don't feel so bad now, you know? But I mean, Louisiana would probably be like, oh, we don't want you doing that. Well, I don't do that anymore, bro. I don't like corn snakes go because they're morphs. But maybe I should. Maybe I should. They turn into a ball python. They'd start mutating into wild more, and I'd be rich beyond all imagine. I'd be able to go pluck purple and green corn snakes out of my yard and be like, ooh, it's a new morph. Look, I did what they did in Ghana.
Yeah.
You know? So, Quirky says, I know Australia's cat problem. Yeah, that was fucking terrible. Cat eradication program. Now, if the people keep them in the house by law or risk them being taken for Burmese food. But yeah, what's it like? Has there been an impact though?
With cats, I guess so.
I mean, like you would know, right? If you're out there catching reptiles, you should be catching more of them if there's less cats, right?
Yeah, well, at the moment I'm catching more because it's a lot wetter. So we went through a huge dry spell in Australia, so a bit of a drought, and now it's just been raining constantly. So I'm catching a lot of red belly blacks, just red belly black after red belly black, basically. So, and then the like I said, how we fuck around with people. So people like, because they're usually hysterical when you catch it. Oh, what are you going to do with the snake? I'm going to let it go to the neighbors and make another $150. And then I just keep going about my business. And then they're like, you know, they're going through the motion. And they go, hang on, what'd you just say? I'm like, I'm going to let it go to the neighbors and make more money. I'm like, I'm only joking. And then I just leave.
Oh, man. So, I mean, you relocate.
One guy say he's not going to pay me. And I caught this 6-foot red belly black in his kitchen. He goes, I'm not paying you. I said, oh, fuck you then. So I took it out of the bag and let it go again. And he goes, you can't do that. I'm going to call the police. I said, oh, wait. They all know me. And yeah, he ended up paying. So.
Yeah, of course he ends up paying. Perfectly straight. I mean, I'm not saying I would do the same thing. I mean, I'm just saying that's the way it gets done.
Guy by himself. So if he had kids, I wouldn't do that. But like, he was being an asshole, so I was being a bigger asshole. So.
That's true. And well, you play the asshole game when you're there. I mean, it's one of those things where you're going to be a dick to the plumber while he's there fixing your shit. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck? Are you crazy? You out of your mind?
Snake, you know?
Yeah, fucking venomous snakes in your house. This dude's there getting
it. Bite you on the toe and you'll bleed out your ass and eyes. So it's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
Oh man, I just watched Bullet Train too, right? And the fucking boom slang or whatever they had on the movie.
Oh,
They said that in the movie, right? I don't know. It was some Asian rat snake. I couldn't quite tell what kind of Asian rat snake it was in the movie that they used as the snake. But yeah, it was supposed to be a boom slang that was biting them and making them bleed out of the eyes. But yeah, you say that, you'd be like, yeah, you seen that Money Train movie with Brad Pitt, right? Yeah, that shit right there, buddy. That shit. Pay up. This fucker's in a bag. That's some shit, huh? Okay, so I'm with Quirky. In Florida, they're going after invasive reptiles instead of the biggest predator, the cat, killing all native species. Yeah, that's true. And you're absolutely right. I'm both for and against the cat indoor outdoor thing. I personally have a cat that lives outside that is a murderous little fuck, but she also murders stuff in the feral bamboo that I planted all over my property. So I produce more birds and more animals that nest in bamboo and the law allows now in my area, because I live in a spot, Colin, where they cleared this place in like the 70s for a cow field, and then it was a polo field, and then it was broken up into individual like home sites. Like I've seen a lot of that in Australia, like where there's just a nice big farmland piece, and then somebody comes in and just makes like little mini farm houses out of them.
Yeah.
And
what they do, man, is so Kane, my mate in Sydney, he actually, so what the developers come in, they buy the farmland. It might be have a dam on it. They just fill the cunt up with dirt straight away, and that could have like Chaladina lonicoldus all through the dam, so long neck turtles, and basically they're just left for dead. So what Kane has convinced developers is he does it for free. He'll go in, they dewater the dam, get all the turtles out and the eels, and then rehome them. So before that, they'll just fill it with dirt, pad footing over it, rolling over it, and that was it. Build a house on top.
Wow.
So you might have like 20, 30 turtles just gone, you know? So
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, and that's in areas where living has pushed out that strongly into the rural areas, right? So
I had a question. So someone was talking about Florida and native invasive animals, all that sort of stuff. How do you feel about? I was watching the other day a video Donnie did about these pet tubers. So I've watched Real Tarzan, how he goes out at night and gets the iguanas down that are all frozen in the trees and looks after them, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I've seen this dude, I can't remember the guy's name, but they're like shooting spears into iguanas, shooting them with BB guns or whatever they are, and they put it on YouTube. Have you seen that sort of shit? Like, how does an American feel about it?
I try not to dig too much into stuff that's going to make me into an angry person these days, you know, Colin, because honestly, shit like that does make me into an angry person. You know, like I don't support Discovery Channel. I haven't supported Discovery Channel. I'm not like, so you know Danny Mendez from podcast. From before, right?
I met him at Tinley Park.
Danny and I share a whole lot of similar views. Now, then again, Danny and I can go completely the fuck opposite directions with something, right? Like I've never had so much in common with a motherfucker that was angry and aggressive and progressive. But I've never also had so much embarrassment to be a part of that clique and be like, oh, fuck, I can't believe I love Danny as much as I do. You know, but like,
what is he doing these days?
Well, I don't know what the fuck he's doing these days. I know he went through that breakup with that chick and it kind of fucking fucked him up and everything. And I mean, it kind of, I mean, I was going through some shit too. And I said some things and I don't think he was ready for that. I was kind of like, fuck these bitches kind of thing. And I don't think he was ready for that yet. And I just was like, whatever. So I didn't bark down his tree. But to go back to it, I was very non-Animal Planet, like come about the Naked and Afraid, the survival shows where they're going to Australia, they're going to Africa, and they're filming people killing a snake, right?
Yeah.
I'll never forget, I was in the hospital. It was right before I went into sepsis, so it was really memorable, right? Because I almost fucking died like 5 minutes later. But I'm sitting in the emergency room waiting for a bed to open up in trauma in 2017 and 2016 with this horrible infection. I had just woke up with 108-degree fever. So I know I wasn't seeing things, right? Most people be like, bro, you have 180-degree fever. Are you sure you weren't seeing things? We're in the fucking waiting room of the hospital, and they have on the Weather Channel. Now, the Weather Channel has a reality show on about these fat fucks surviving in the wild. It's called like 5 Fat Fucks Survive in the Wild.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. It's like Bubba's Vacation with nothing, right? It's Bubba Grills, right? Bear Grylls gone Bubba. And it's like 5 fat fucks in Arkansas that have just like decided, bro, we ran out of beer and we got lost and the truck broke and we ran out of shotgun shells and now we have to survive. So they managed to come across a 55-gallon barrel in the woods that happens to have a stunningly beautiful adult hypomelanistic corn snake in it that they bought from some poor bastard's fucking king snake account or something for this show.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers go on to kill it, skin it, and cook it. And there's 5 fat fucks. Fat fucks. I mean, fat fuck like NASCAR barbecue, finger-looking Memphis barbecue fat fucks, right? Yeah. That would never be satisfied off of 1 snake, much less 12 snakes, 20
Yeah.
snakes just like it, right? These fat fucks would be like, "Give me some more. I want some more. Where's the crackers? Give me some bread." And like these fat gluttonous fucks. And I'm watching this shit and I'm like, okay, good job, Discovery. You started a survival show, then you made them naked, and then you made them afraid, and then you have other companies and other networks the right to make survival shows where they're just killing reptiles because who gives a fuck about reptiles, right? Because reptiles don't have rights, right? Like, I mean, and that's pretty far. Like, so for you to tell me that there's these guys out bounty hunting green iguanas with guns, look, if they're eating them, I'm fine. If they're televising it, I'm not so fine. But I mean, then again, what's that?
I don't think they're eating them. But Danny was the one that put me on to. I had no idea, but you got like in Texas, they do that rattlesnake roundup. So that was the awareness that he gave me. Oh fuck, whenever that was, man. So
and it's been going on and still going on. And I mean, Danny could sacrifice himself there with a vest bomb, and it would still go on. You know what I mean? Like that's it. It like you could. I mean, you know, I'm just saying. I didn't say me. Thank God, it's my channel. I'm not threatening anything like that. No way. But I'm just saying, like, someone could go to a thing like that and do a heinous thing like that, and honestly, it would just make them bring more guns to kill more snakes next time. You know?
Yeah, it's part of their culture, or I guess, or what?
And I mean, look, I'm a Cro-Magnon, meat-eating, aggressive, gun-owning Southerner. But I'm not out there fucking pumping gasoline down holes and killing rattlesnakes. You know, Forward Motion said I do think they're eating them. And hey, look, if it is a food source, look, I can't tell you guys. Have you ever seen how they raise iguanas in Costa Rica and in El Salvador and stuff?
Yeah.
So, like, if you've seen how they've raised the green iguana for the American pet trade circa like 1965 till like, I mean, I'm sure it still goes on, right? But
I've been to Strictly Reptiles, so seeing what happens.
Right. Okay. So you've been to Strictly, so you've seen them packaged in the cricket boxes in the container. Right. So like we used to get them. I think there's like 50 or 25 of them in a box, and the box is smaller than a box of 1,000 crickets come in. They have 25 iguanas stuffed in there so tight that they can't break their tails or fucking hurt each other in mesh bags. Yeah, we used to get fucking 500 lots of them here. Yeah, from Strictly every year.
That was the first time, because like the Australian hobby, you got to remember, like.
Yeah, I bet that was eye-opening for you, huh?
Yeah, the American hobby, there's the population of more than the population of Australia have reptiles in America. Whereas in Australia, it'd be, you know, there's 20, 30 million people here. I wouldn't be able to tell you how many people. Like 1 in 20 people might have a snake. You know what I mean? So it's not a lot of people.
Same here, though.
That was my first eye-opening thing to. So I've been to a couple of expos, but then I went to Strictly Reptiles, which Brian said, like, I'm going to take you to a place. And he goes, not good, but I just want to show you this side. And I was fucking, like, it was fucking
Barshak, Brian?
Yeah.
Barshak? Yeah. So especially if you got to see the side of Strictly that Brian would be able to bring you into, the side of Strictly that you probably couldn't bring a camera into, where you really get to see. And the fucked up thing is this, bro. I'm friends with Ray, with the old man. Like, I'm fucking friends with Ray. And I have mad respect for Ray. Like, fucking unbelievable mad respect for Ray. I mean, granted, King Smith, the old guy that runs the shows with me that lives a mile away, the guy who let all the Louisiana milk snakes go. He goes back in the day with them, bro. Like in the book, in the Lizard King book, there's 2 guys vaguely mentioned at the shed that used to drink coffee and smoke cigarettes with the chimpanzee every morning. That was King and his best friend, Dave. And King and Dave, I mean, I've known these guys for my whole life as a herper here. They were, and they introduced me to guys like Ray Van Nostrand, Mike's dad. Mike is a fucking piece of shit, bro. Mike is a horrible motherfucker. Mike is just like a soulless reptile flesh peddler is what Barchak used to, a word that Barchak used to use that I've never used for Brian himself, and I won't, because I don't believe that at all. That if I compared someone to the demonic sense of Strictly Reptiles, as we discussed, like not, you know, granted, I'll never have an account with them again. So you know,
Yeah,
no
I've seen
matter.
a bathtub size thing with that many tortoises in it that the tortoises weren't on the ground anymore. They're just on top of each other.
Bro, I got a shipment of fucking Greek tortoises, blonde Greek tortoises from them that
Yeah.
had the most giantest African lima bean sized ticks on them. And the tortoises got sick, bro. Wait. The tortoises got sick. And one of
Yeah.
my customers special, I didn't want them. One of my customers special ordered them. And I told her, look, you got to take them. And she took them. They were like 2002, maybe 2002. It was 2002. And
Yeah.
Strictly sent me half a dozen blonde Greek, you know, golden Greek tortoise. They call them golden Greek tortoises with these
Yeah.
giant gray ticks on them.
Yeah.
And they started going sick. And the
Yeah.
woman brought them to the vet. And they had some rare ass strain of malaria, all of them.
Fucking hell.
And I was like, she called me and she was like, what did you do with the I was like, I cleaned out the enclosure. You wouldn't believe I found ticks in the corners of the enclosure that had bailed off to like try to go lay eggs and shit. I like fucking scrubbed it out, and all the ticks that I found, I froze them in a bag, and they were literally the size of like lima beans. They were giant fucking female fat bloated ticks, and just disgusting shit, like shit that you wouldn't expect to see. Now, I wouldn't mind getting like Costa Rican dart frogs from them, bro, because they would get them so fresh and so new, you know.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like you live in a place where there are people that have done certain things to create a hobby like you have, whereas it's the same thing in Australia. There's certain people that have done certain things for certain animals to be on license, for certain animals to be available to the public here in Australia that would normally not, because like all these animals are only F2, F3, F4 out of the wild. You know what I mean? They're not, you know, like F20.
Yeah, you're not F10, 15. Well, yeah, F30, like our bearded dragons here in America. No, like our Pagona. Exactly, wait. What do you call them? Pagona Americana? Is that what you call them now? Pagona Americana?
Yeah.
Like that's what I would call them. Pagona Americana. Komodo clusterfucker eye. Pagona clusterfucker eye. If you let go of
those in Australia, let it go on the bush, it would last a bit like a kookaburra would swoop down and grab it straight away. You know what I mean? Like it's not like your bearded dragons aren't reptiles anymore. They're like, I would consider them dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and dogs with fucked up shaped heads and weird eyeballs.
I went to the Sandfire Dragon Ranch and had a look there,
right?
And held a heap of bearded dragons, and they just feel different too. Like because we have, like F1, F0, and you feel that
have real Barbata. You have actual Barbata that are real.
Yeah, you catch them down the road.
I remember Barbata, bro. I got to touch Barbata when they were originally the real thing in the 90s. That shit was insane. Giant 30-inch long bearded dragon with a fucking wild yellow mouth and an attitude from hell. But then they were called German giants when they bred them into shit because they couldn't get enough of them.
I remember that one.
Yeah, that's it. They just bred them to Viticeps and made them German giants, or whatever. That's really tragic, bro. It's really tragic.
I used to catch them when I was a kid and put them in people's tents when we were camping and then wait for the screams when they go to bed, Put a spider in your tent.
Yeah, because I imagine they're pretty fucking wiry there, in the bush.
Yeah, like a wild one, you can go up and pick it up, but it will bite you. Like it 100% will bite. And
it will bite you. It will beard up on you. It will fucking get pissed off and do its thing. So
but this is the way it is. But same with water dragons. I've seen Pete got bit by one really good. We filmed it one day. He's like, waved his hand around. This is a beast, and he waved his finger too close, and it went bang on the end of his.
Oh man, and they hit hard too, man. They have fucking good bite on them bastards, man. They got some good teeth on them.
I like people with the frill necks. They go, oh, they're not that bad, mate. You get bit by one of them, it'll put you on your knee. It'll put you on your knee.
Fuck yeah. Oh, Australian one's so much bigger too. A lot of them are used to the Indonesian ones. They're used to the New Guinea ones. The little pussy ones.
The whole time I'm in Tinley Park, people are bringing me blue tongues going, check out my Taliqua skincoides. I'm like, it's an Indo. Like, it's not. And they're like, I've been told it's a Northern. I'm telling you, it's fucking not. How about that? And he's like,
shit.
Well, you're wrong. And I'm like, I'm from Australia. I can tell you that's an Indonesian blue tongue.
Well, yeah, and I bet that's a really commonplace thing.
Covered in mites, you know what I mean? Like just straight out of the bush. It's like, or wherever it's come from.
Straight out of Strictly. Straight out of
Yeah,
Strictly.
wherever,
Straight out of
yeah.
Strictly. Well, I used to buy mine from Bushmaster. I used to buy mine from Bushmaster in Colorado from Cameron every
Oh,
year,
yeah.
and I had it timed where every year that I would buy adult blue tongues would be breeding season. I'd just buy them all and not for sale them for a month. And then I would have like tons of babies, and then I would sell all the adults, and I'd have tons of babies born in the shop. It was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
I stopped breeding Australian blue tongues because nobody gave a fuck that they were Australian or Indonesian back then.
I cannot believe, because
Yeah.
like when I look at the market there, like everyone's set up with CB70s for ball pythons, all that sort of stuff. And
Well,
like,
look, so Bill Brandt from Gourmet Rodent started this chant about fucking blue tongue skinks were the next big thing. Blue tongue skinks were he was in my facility in like 2013 saying that same shit. Sean, get blue tongues in this fucking facility now. And I'm like, okay, Bill. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to say I thought it was like pipe dreams of an old man, but I'm just saying Bill's got some years on him now. But, you know, I was thinking, fuck, I don't know if I want to do this. And so I kept rocking the ball python thing. And then Barchak's out there going, blue tongues are the next big thing. And people are like, did you hear Barchak say that? And I was like, yeah, he's just saying that because Bill Brandt said that. And anything Gramps says, he says. You know, anything Gramps says, he says. He's a Gramps repeater. He always has been. Not that that's a stupid idea. That's like saying Warren Buffett gives bad investment advice. I mean, that's just like, that's stupid, right? I mean, you're not going to look at the guy that supplies more supplied, and when he owned the company, more reptiles to the world than anyone.
The Gourmet Rodent.
Gourmet Rodent. Yeah, the Gourmet Rodent. And when Bill ran it, bro, it was 89 employees strong, dude. When I tell you that's 4 people working in a building washing tubs, guys. Listen to this when I tell you there's a guy whose full-time job is driving a forklift of tubs from one building to another building, from one building to this building, from this building to that building. And if you call Gourmet Rodent and you say, I'd like to be your Patreon member if you share with me some photos of your buildings, you can see the tub building. And the tub building literally has unwashed tubs because it was cheaper to buy new tubs than it was to pay people to wash the fuckers. So they have a building full of dirty tubs. If anybody ever was like, I want a charity reptile rescue, who do I ask for tub donate? Call Gourmet Rodent. It's a tax write-off for them and you. You probably can work that out. But yeah, dude, seriously, that like shit is mind-blowing. That scale is fucking insane. When you're just like, dude, how do you staff that? Right? You got I'll tell you how they do it. They do it with a standard operating procedures manual, just like fucking McDonald's. And you come in as a regular goddamn laborer and you learn the manual and you're tested on the manual and you work the building and you work the dude. And it's like a regular corporation. They have a bell that rings for lunch and everyone has to leave the building. And their policy is, if you're in this building after the second bell rings, you're immediately fired because there's no reason you should be in here. And they avoid theft that way. They don't hire people that have collections. Well, aside from like Ben Cole and operators, right?
Yeah.
They hire operators that have experience, but their employees are more or less plebs. They're more or less regular people, right?
Yeah.
They have no reason to steal. They have no reason to fuck shit up. They just come to work, do their job, go home, get a check.
Yeah.
That's it. They're not hobbyists. And it's funny. I had this conversation with my employee here, my manager, that I didn't hire for the longest time, bro. I didn't hire people that had collections at home, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I didn't want them working for me, dude, because after what Kevin and Nerd went through.
It's just, people, a lot of the people have gone through that sort of stuff. Like, it's a slippery slope, isn't it? Because it's just, sometimes with ball python, there's a lot of money.
Yeah, dude. Kevin had a guy working for him that was bringing normal eggs to work and swapping them with bumblebee eggs in the beginning, dude. He had horrible odds. Terrible odds. No, just got some spiders, just got some pastel. Dude, and you know what's fucked up? The dude has a Morph Market account right now. Guy's got a Morph Market account. Scott's got a fucking Morph Market account. You can go fucking find it right now, and you'll find caramel albinos and shit on there. All that shit. He got all that shit when he worked there. And so for that reason, Scott alone, that one example with Nerd, fuck, man, that shit scared me to death. How are Australian hobbyists to each other? I mean, like, I know how European hobbyists are. We talked about that on the other show before, where they don't want to even buy from each other. Like, they don't want to deal with each other.
No, that's right. So like if I was to sell you a snake, I'm going to meet you at McDonald's. You're not coming to my house. You're not knowing where I live. Nothing like that. So
Pretty straightforward like that all the time. Then it's pretty incognito.
much
Then.
like like
and fuck
Luke.
that. I don't like living like that. It feels shitty to live like that with a hobby you love.
Does,
you know?
Yeah, but but then after a while, you sort of get over that, and then mate, if you're going to come to my house and try and steal my green tree pythons, I'm going to be there waiting for you. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what was happening when there was big money around chondros in Australia. There was people getting rolled by bikies and all that sort of stuff to get those snakes and on sell them and all that sort of stuff. But these days, not so much. But it's just more the people are worried about viruses and stuff more in Australia.
Since COVID.
No, just like that's what I've noticed. So like I've been to collections to film for people, and they've doused me in F10 before I even get in the building. You know.
Oh, okay. I see. They're just worried about like Nito and all that other shit coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're just paranoid about that.
Yeah. But it's like that with any hobby. You have like really passionate people, and then people that just, I think, but like the social media side of things has really opened up people's collections to, like you can do a live stream and show a couple of bearded dragons and all that sort of stuff, and people love it. So, and then make a video on a setup because you get that question a lot. So like even with the snake catching, I've got a brown snake. So I've made on my YouTube channel, I've made the 3 species of brown colored snakes that we get in our area. So when people say, "Oh, I've got a brown snake," I'll send them a video and go, "Does it look like that?" Yeah, it is. And then I explain in the video what it is. So, that power
helps
of
a lot.
Yeah,
that's nice for outreach, right? I mean, you don't have to tell somebody, well, hey, go to a bookstore and find a field guide to native reptiles in your area, like I would have to do when I was a kid, Yeah, but Eric, I was going to get to that shortly. Quirky said, who exactly is Strictly Location? Are they still active? They're in Hollywood, Florida. Eric's MORPH Factory popped up and said Hollywood, Florida. They're in Hollywood, Florida. They are still active. They are a wholesale only outfit. It is like a heavy flow operation. It's not really one. I don't think it's got a lot of time left on it, really. I don't see how it still operates the way it used to operate. I don't see how it could still really thrive. And of course, here's your boy Luke piped up and said, "Great show with Australia's number 2 with the winky face." Right, here we go with his bullshit. With number 2.
I'll be honest, 92 million.
He has whored himself out to the Instagram crowd for certain. This Luke at Lizard Morphs has been he is definitely the lizard whore of Instagram, which I love though. I mean, I like watching the videos. I like seeing the reels of all the blue tongues and the bearded dragons he does, and we'll certainly have him on an off topic someday.
He's probably got me there on the reels. I'm probably number 2 because the editing, but by video, you can't beat me. Like he's
can't beat that fucking shirt, Luke. What the fuck? And the lights, shit. You better be look. Turn that Twitch game up. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, you got the mood lighting. I'm telling you. Yeah. So yeah, hit the like and the subscribe, guys, and the notification bell if you want to keep hearing these kind of great interviews. I'm actually going to talk to a guy from the UK on Friday night. Just impromptu hit up Big Mike over there at 21st Century Reptiles and ask him his opinion on like the UK thing through time, because that's something I never thought I'd really see when the ball python market blew up, would be a thriving business. Now, you said you went to South Africa. That's something. That's something I talk about that I think is fucking phenomenal, is that Ultimate Exotic store in South Africa that produces a magazine, that has produced this magazine for a very long time and had a thriving business there. Did you get to see any of the reptile commerce business when you were in South Africa?
I only went to to Warren's place, so Bushveld Reptiles. I think he lives in America now. And he showed us, so he had a collection like berries. Warren, I can't remember his last name. Bushveld Reptiles. Can you see that?
I'll have to check him out. Nah, it's kind of blurred on the thing, but we'll get a link from you. I'll check it out. Yeah, because that was it. South Africa has had like a budding industry for a long time.
He had all the different morphs of house snakes, so that's what he shows me.
Right.
And
There you go.
I got to hold Angolan pythons, film puff adders, all the different types of cobras, because he's a venomous dude as well. Big on venomous. And then he took us out bushwalking. And like, so when you go herping in Australia, so this is one thing I learned in Africa. So you go herping in Australia, you got to watch for fucking snakes. Oh, there might be a kangaroo fight on the side, blah, blah, blah. Man, we're walking, and then we went into this area that is all pushed down bush. So and every fucking bush, every fucking bush in Africa is called wait a while. So that means like it can snag you, can hook you, because everything's got thorns on it. So we go into this area and it's all pushed down. He goes, fuck. Okay, what's wrong? He goes, this is a rhino toilet. So there's a heap of shit in the middle. He goes, the rhino won't be that far away. And this bush is that thick, you can't see like 6 feet in front of you. And he's like, shit, we better go back on ourselves. So we go back and we're looking for black mambas. So we went back on ourselves, and then so we had our footprints in the sand, and on top of our footprint, there was a fucking lion footprint. You know, so then he's like, oh shit, we gotta go back to the camp. Like, fucking hell. Like, so not only have you got to
meaning
look for
after your footprint.
Yeah, so on
there
top
was a lion footprint.
Behind us, there's a fucking lion. So we had to go back to the camp and get back in behind the wire with the wire.
That's an absolute fuck that moment. That's an absolute
that.
Ghost in the darkness. Fuck that moment.
When people go, I'll never camp in Australia, it's like, why?
We don't have feral cats that big, bro. We got feral cats, but they're not that big. We don't have feral cats that are that much of a problem. Yeah, that's kind of scary if your footprint was down, and then after your footprint came a lion footprint, meaning he was actually following you guys. That's fucking scary. That's fucking scary. Okay.
They don't make any noise, and they're quiet. Doop, doop,
doop, doop, doop. Back to that comedy.
I made a noise. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly. You fucking running as fast as you can, right? Run faster than the guy next to you.
Your place, like you have to wear the thing around your nose, because otherwise you just get like dust up your nose. That's the fucking worst. And then out at night catching scorpions. So I learned that small pincers and a big tail will kill you.
Will kill you. That's right. Big pincers, no fucking problem. Yep, that's right.
No problem.
That's right. Flat rock scorpions, emperor scorpions are your friend. Those little tiny little yellow ones with the little bitty little needle claws on the front. Yeah, those aren't no good.
Yeah, and they got like a
good death stalkers and shit. Yeah,
they got a stinger like a pencil. You're just like, fuck, they can kill you. But then we dug up tarantulas, and it was a sick trip. Like, I loved it. So
that sounds like a blast, man. Sounds like but it sounds like I'm glad I'm in a wheelchair having an excuse.
Going to an ATM to get money out where there's people that are poor, like actual poor people, and you're getting money out, and there's dudes standing with machetes and shit, and you're the only white person in this whole town. That's fucking weird as well. So,
but they didn't fuck with you.
No, they didn't fuck with. Like, but they had asked for money, so you give them money, like, because they got nothing. And I couldn't believe, like there was a nice part of this town, in Limpopo Province where we were. So it's like where all the tourists go. But then if you go around the corner, there's people living under like bits of iron, and that's their house.
Right.
And there's a fucking
like
KFC.
Public bath washing areas and shit where people are washing their ass right in the middle of the street.
There was a KFC, like an actual KFC in this place. It's like, what the fuck's going on? Like, it was wrong, you know?
Yeah, it's weird, twisted, isn't it? Like, it's got to be very surreal being in a spot.
Yeah.
Like that. Well, yeah, I'm going to have some South Africans on this show soon. I've been talking to them. So I ran into a couple of them, and of all places, like Memphis, Tennessee. They were in America for a farming operation. So I'm guessing they were very good at growing green. They were very good at Kush farming. And that's all I could gather, really. Like, I couldn't figure why some strapping young, like college looking fucking frat boy looking South Africans were gallivanting around, exactly. And when I was like, dude, we from South Africa, I'm like, hey, bro. I was like, I knew exactly what to say to him. I'm like, I get that shit. I mean, I said the other day, my crypto show that I watch is all South Africans. They're all Johannesburg guys. So like, but I already knew the whole bro thing a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, I've known that, and it just like win them over when you say brew, and they're like, "Whoa!"
I mean, I
Somebody
love
watches
coming to
Diane with
America.
movies.
I love
Somebody
coming to
watch
America
Chappie.
doing the road trip from Chicago to Detroit with Brian. Maddie from what's his I can't remember. Anyway, Matt took us from Detroit to, and he told us all about the leopard gecko morphs on the way from Tinley Park to Detroit. But then would stop in a servo, which is you guys call a roadhouse or a gas station. Pull into a servo in the middle of fucking nowhere. I don't even know where it was. And you go in and go, "Hey, go, mate. Just want to get this." And people just looking at you like, "The fuck's this guy saying?" Because we're speaking a little bit too fast, or obviously the accent as well. So, and then there'll be 5 of us in his shop. You know, like we'd just get out of a van, and there'd be 5 Australians in his shop going, "Oh yeah, mate." Blah, blah, blah. And the dude's like, and then we go to pay with Australian money, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" It's like Australia. He's like, "Where the fuck's Australia?"
He's one of he's a flat earther, is he? He's a flat earther.
Australia. One guy said to me, Australia's Northern England.
Northern England. There you go.
Northern England.
Is that located near New Zealand and South Africa? Because you all sound the same. Like after a while, you learn like that's it. It's like if somebody says brew, I have no doubt that they're South African. Like I have no doubt if you said pop in America, you're from the Midwest. Like it is an absolute fucking dead on. Everybody else says soda or cola or Coke or drink or cold drink, or you say pop, you weird fucking like strange, like some 1918 warped Back to the Future moment where, oh, can I have a pop? You looking like, what the fuck did you just say? What?
Yeah.
You're from Ohio, period. I'm sorry, you're from fucking Ohio. And that's pretty much it with brew. If you say brew, that's South Africa. So William's up in the chat, and he's like, now I want to get to the nitty gritty. What's up with the Australians? Is there any private people trying to work on exportations? I signed a petition in Australia to allow the private keeping of Owen Pili python on some part of Australia. I remember this was but one reason I did it is hope that it might help with exportations one day. Do you think there's anything up the pipe ever?
I don't think so. If it was going to happen, like I was saying off air, so it would be a perfect way for C-SERPENTS reptiles was the Maddie who took us from Maddie Baronic from
Maddie Baronic. Okay.
Yeah, he took us from
right.
And so if the government in Australia would make new tax revenue, they would make basically it's a money maker for them, and I would say they would price one of the export licenses at maybe $30,000 to $50,000 Australian. But because the money to be made, you got to look at that. But you'll have people that'll want a Simpsons python from a certain.
No. You'd make the money back just on blue tongue skink and bearded dragon morphs alone. Like even if we just said that they have to be filial 4, so like let's say they had to be like F4 or some shit.
Yeah,
or something beyond, you'd be able to whip that
people
up.
in Australia could send you F1 or F0.
Yeah, Russ Gergie would be over there like, God damn it, I can't sell blue tongue skinks.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have already happened. So,
yeah, I guess you're right. So, like, tropical fish is something we talked about. Like, you can have all kind of fish, bro. You could have all kind of South American fish. You can have all kind of Asian fish. Fuck, you can have a macaw. In the land of the cockatoo, you can have a macaw, but you can't have a corn snake.
I can have a macaw without a license, but if I want to have a black cockatoo, I got to buy a license and then buy the black cockatoo.
Oh, really? Is that because it's endangered, though? Are palm cockatoos endangered there? That's what they would be, right? Palm cockatoos. That's what we call them here, I believe.
Palm. There you go.
Yeah, palms. Black ones, the black ones, the big black mean-looking motherfuckers, the demonic ones. Those things are badass. If I was a cockatoo person, I'd have one of those motherfuckers.
I know that one.
The goth cockatoo.
I think they're from New Guinea, the big black ones. But the red black cockatoo and the yellow.
Yeah, the red.
So you see them around here. So they're not in. I wouldn't call them endangered. So, but yeah.
Okay, so they're not protected. They just have some weird.
it's a native wildlife thing in Australia, so it might be CITES listed. I'm not sure, but that's what you have to have. So
yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, don't they allow the exportation of fishing birds out of Australia?
no idea.
I don't know. They export the fuck out of fish. I know that. I mean, I know you can go like
coral. You're saying
there's a what's that? And
you can
coral.
send coral.
Oh fuck, dude! You guys took the barrier reef apart. But all I can tell you there is, and I hate to say it this way, but I just look at a bunch of enterprising fucking Europeans that want to just make money make hay while the sun shines. Be like, oh, the fuck reef's dying. So, albeit the reefing hobby is a fucking scourge on animal life.
Yeah,
like. There are reefers that do tremendous work and have tremendous success, and they are the ones that make the whole industry work. But the industry is predicated on failure of aquariums. I mean, we both know that a lot of aquariums die. A lot of stuff dies in aquariums, corals especially. But if I have reefs like Australia, and they are so plentiful with so much biological, and I'm watching them die, I'm like, fuck, dude, if you guys can go out there and make money off that, go make money off that.
What's it? That's Tommy's catchphrase.
But at the same
conservation by commercialization.
Conservation by commercialization. Yeah, and I think Walt Smith was a good example of that in Fiji with the coral business by having like a lot of ecotourism built around it, right? Like he built a coral farm in the ocean, and he built a way for people to come and like have a vacation in Fiji and do like this whole coral farming experience where you go out on the reef and you clip your coral and you put it on a rock and you carry it out and you put it on a mariculture thing and you're part of the reef farming experience. And then CITES came in and said, Indonesian coral? No. And what's Fiji? Fiji gets thwacked with the Indonesian coral ban. And ultimately Walt Smith at that point, he pretty much retired because he owned fucking half of Fiji. So he's done so well. But when we look at things like what William's talking about, and to say that I just have a hard time believing that they wouldn't allow reptiles at some point. I actually agree with you from a standpoint that you guys have to lobby for it, right? Like Australians have to lobby for it.
We don't have with any hobby it's difficult. So you guys have USARC,
which one of my guests pointed out has very, very little participation by people. It's just people like to say they participate.
They lobby for the legislation change, whereas Australia we have people have attempted it, but no one gets in a big group from all the states and goes, yeah, we want to do this. There's always a state that goes, no, I want to do it this way, and then it just never. And it's when it becomes the ununited states of Australia again, and nothing happens. And so that's why I would say,
I understand,
unless there's a huge culture change in Australia with our hobby, it won't happen. So, because I could start that tomorrow and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to lobby people and get nowhere.
Yeah.
So,
and it is a shame. It's a shame. And you would think that with products like Steve Irwin, let's just say, like national treasures, right? Crocodile Dundee, for fuck's sake. If we're going back to national treasures that Americans are associating with the land of Oz. You would think that we would be a little bit more open-minded to the commerce of reptiles at this point. And that's the only thing I'm saying is that because of the fish business. The fish business blew my mind whenever I realized, because now really I've been a rainbow fish fan and hobbyist for the better part of 30 years, but never, and blue eyes, the little tiny little river fish, very cool fish that you have. But to find out that you could bring in so much of other shit that could be a problem. And to know that they were the way they were with reptiles just really fucking made me shake my head. You know, and I think you'd be quite surprised how many people in the US would back you, if that means anything. I think, or worldwide for that matter. I think so. I do. Maybe there's something there in the future.
It's definitely a worldwide thing. It's not just a US thing. It'd be like Japan. Like when I used to breed blue tongues solely, I would get pounded every day from Japan, Indonesia, UK, Russia about sending him blue tongues. So
when blue tongues were in, especially. Yeah. When blue tongues were the next big thing, right? Well, a few years ago, before they kind of died down now. I mean, I don't think that they've stopped selling well. I'm sure they're still selling well, but you know, they've definitely waned in popularity. So,
but
I know we don't have a whole lot more time before we have to
get
going for your daughter's thing. So, what's that all about? What she got going on?
Mate, she's a finalist. She's in year 5. So she's a finalist for school captain or something like that. So she's doing a speech today. So
all right, big deal.
So we booked in this podcast for a couple of weeks, and then
this pops up, but that's more important, bro. We've already covered some pretty good time here. I don't want to make this seem like you're bat out of hell wanting to leave me because you haven't had a good time today. But you know, I know.
I mean, I'll come back for sure. Like, you want to come back again?
Yeah, I definitely want to talk shit with you again. I want to talk to you and Luke together. You know, and get you both number 1 and number 2.
Number 1 on.
Number 1 and number 2, and we can see how far we get with that while we're cutting up, you know. But I mean, we'll call this one a short one today, and that's all good because it's good for family things. So I'm probably gonna head out of here early and actually put my kid to bed for once on a podcast night. But thanks a lot, dude, for coming on the show. And it's only 7:15 here, so I got plenty of time to do some work here and get home, which works for me. And hey, man, there's no problem at all with coming back and doing another one of these because this is fun. And I think people really enjoyed it. So again, guys, sorry about the time constraint that's just kind of popped up on us, but you know, our kids definitely come first. And congratulations to your young one. I'm sure you're really proud of that kind of a forward, like, confidence role. My daughter
I only get to see my daughters every second weekend, so she doesn't know I'm coming today. So,
shit, to make it all the more special. All right, well, we don't want you to be late, bro. So I'll let you roll on out, and I'll close it out with these folks. All right, thanks a lot, Colin. Everybody, yes, indeed. Thanks. Yep. All right, well, Colin you can jet whenever you want to, bro. We got a pretty good little pre-show in there. I'm gonna carry this on for a few more minutes with you guys since it'd be kind of a shorty tonight. But yeah, thanks a lot for coming in and joining me and Colin for that kind of just off the cuff thing and do it kind of weird on a Monday. Short one today, but a good one. I think covered some great ground with him. And we'll definitely get back to talk more about his Instagram page and more about what he's into in the way of some of this stuff. I'm going to just go through it without him. It'll be fine. We'll go through his Instagram real quick. Look at this wheeler eye. I mean, to see this kind of stuff. This wheeler eye synctus he's made this video of. He's doing the reels. He's doing this job of like, dude, look at this shit. If this is got to be in a cage, right? He's not doing this in the wild. I'm so jealous of him to be able to do this kind of shit in the wild. I'm sure you guys will probably bail on me here soon. Ferrets, fucking ferrets. No, thank you. Oh, man, look at that Stimson eye. Killer. Looks great on the red sand. What doesn't look good on red sand in Australia? Look at that Amy eye. Fuck. Such a cool lizard, you know. Geckos are where it's at, guys. You know, there's so many great geckos. There's Luke. Ugh. God, I can't even look at this page without him. We're going to go through this next time with him. Look at Ciliaris. Oh, God. That's my lizard right there. That's my lizard right there. That thing shoots like a noxious, funky stuff from its ass to scare you away. It's really gross. But anyway, I'll let you guys go and, enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. There are definitely a lot of things that we can cover on this podcast with a guy like Colin and a guy like Luke from Down Under. We will get back to them. Join me Friday night when I'm with Big Mike from the UK. It's going to be a normal time at 7 p.m. It won't be anything weird. Mike's just going to stay up awful late with me. And we're just going to bullshit on a late night show. So join me after dark on Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Thanks a lot. Look, Deadly Tarantula Girl popped in. Hello, Marita. Nice to see you here. Hello, Marita's husband, the wonderful and fabulous JD. It was great to see you guys pop in the chat. I truly miss you both and hope we can do something together soon. That would be fun. Thanks a lot. See you Friday, Will. Alan, sorry that you came in and now you dip out. You know, it is what it is. Colin was a lot of fun. Go back and listen to the rest of the interview. We got a nice little pre-interview for you guys on audio. I've uploaded a few. I was uploading the Jessica Hale episode when I left the house. So once it's out of the queue tonight, that should be available. Thanks again to Luke and his lovely wife over at Lizard Morphs for putting me together with the number 2. He made it clear, the number 2 guy in Australia, at least on Instagram. And honestly, these two are a pair, man. They both have some killer strengths. And I hope to see them on the show more and more, because I think the multi-country thing is all about the fun. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm having fun with Ballsh. So thank you for coming. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we do these weird shows like today, the off-topic Monday on a Tuesday in Australia, and a Monday here. And I'm going to say goodnight, everybody. And I'm going to go home to my kiddo. Yep. It's going to be an early night. Be an interesting early night. So good night. See ya.